Let me just go search for the YouTube link. Okay, published in Telegram. Let's start with the updates. Mete, do you want to go first?
Yes, I'm still working on the from PID's issue, and made some research about Broadway yesterday to get to know more about the consumer part. And I built some ideas in mind, but I'm not really sure if these are reliable. If possible, after the workshop, can we sync with you, Thomas?
Yeah, for sure. No problem about that. All right. Thanks for the update. The next one is Fernando.
Yes. For my part, Martin left a comment in the PR about the Bitcoin unit test API. I think I addressed that. But the CI tests are not passing, but in my computer the tests are passing. So I am checking why that is the case. Kind of weird. Also, I want to finish the other PR of adding the finality checkpoint Bitcoin API. So I think today I will finish with that.
All right, taking some notes on that. Sorry for the silence. There was a lot of things to take notes on. Finality checkpoints, endpoints, perfect. Thank you. The next one is Godpower.
All right. Good day, everyone. Yesterday, I was working on regularization of list of composite types, and I was able to make a PRO. Though it's still a draft PRO, mainly because it does not contain. I've not added tests, and most implementations won't test macrolization of the list of composite types because it's just a loop of hash tree roots, and they individually have tests. But yeah, I would look into more implementation to see if I can add more tests. But if I don't find, I'll just mark it as ready for review. And, yeah, and I'll also be starting work on macrolization of vector of composite types today. Yeah.
That's awesome. If this helps at all, remember that the spec tests might have runners that test that, so it might be a good starting point. If we don't, or if it's easier to start with unit tests, that's fine. Like if you want to inspire yourself in tests by other clients and add some unit tests, that will always be welcome. But if that's a complicated step, always feel free to look at the spec tests and see if there's anything that covers your issue. I don't know if the generic ones have any composite types. I think that they were mostly list of basic types, but I cannot reach that on top of my head. Like I should check them. But yeah, that's just some idea. Might be useful, might not be.
Yeah. The spec test doesn't contain list of composite type. Yeah, it doesn't
Yeah,
even
that's something.
contain list. Yeah.
We
And
probably have them in the static SSZ spec tests, but I think that we might not be ready for those yet. That we haven't enabled them in encoding and decoding. But that's the next step. So okay, yeah,
just
let's
a
go.
quick.
Sorry,
Oh,
go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, just a quick question. I've not really. What's the difference between the static and the generic tests? I've not been.
Oh, I mean, that's just kind of arbitrary terminology that the spec writers chose. But what they meant with it basically is that the generic tests are not for types that are related to Ethereum. They are just testing the basic workings of bit lists, vectors, and all of the basic generic SSZ structures. Conversely, the static SSZ, I don't know what the name static, is the other part, which is testing for Ethereum types like attestation data, block bodies, etc. So that's the main difference. I only got to learn this a couple of weeks ago when I was reviewing Fernando's PR. So yeah, don't worry about it. But that's basically the difference. So when you're actually testing for real Ethereum types, inevitably you have vectors or lists of composite types, because some of those structures have those, like the list of well, no, the validator indices and balances, no, but there's a list of transactions, for instance, in some of the containers. So inside of some containers, you have that kind of stuff. But I'm not sure if we already can enable that. It's probably a next step.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. Yeah, then thanks for the update. The next one is Martin.
So for me yesterday, first I went through the spec of the NEP to try to understand like what are the changes, how big they are, and if we can start working on some of the things. And it seems like there's some stuff we could start working on, which is related to the KCG commitments, which is something that we don't currently have. So it's nothing that will conflict with the current code. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna create a couple of tickets for that, and I don't know if anybody's interested in more math type of things. Like, it could be interesting. But yeah, and then I started working on the metadata of blocks, storing that. I did a proof of concept. I opened a PR. And then I started to also look at the code of other clients to see like how, because I had some doubts about how to deal with some of this, how to update them, store it, and I realized that they don't seem to have something similar to like storing metadata, because it's not needed really, because it's something like some of this metadata is stuff that you can infer. It's not something that you really need to store as a separate field. And kind of like I started thinking a lot about that, and it seems it makes a lot of sense, because the problem is otherwise you are duplicating information in different places, and you have to make sure that everything is up to date. So yeah, I'm thinking about this and more like the architecture, and I saw like also, Thomas, you have a PR about something related. So I guess at some point we should think back and share our findings and thoughts and get to a common ground, because yeah, I think this is quite important. But yeah, it's similar to the stuff you have been writing related to the block refactor and some of the discussion we had before. So yeah, that's it for me.
That's awesome. Great series of updates. And regarding that last point, I'm going to segue into my update. Most of yesterday for me was speaking with other Lambda seniors about the concurrency model. Basically, I try to get some feedback, because it's always good to get other Elixir like seasoned seniors on the concurrency model, even if they are not exclusively working in Ethereum related stuff. And yeah, I got some updates. I added a PR. I may or may not change some of it, because I changed that with the first couple of feedback points that I got, and then I got a third one conflicting with those. So at some point, Martin, maybe we can sync on that, and maybe we can choose a final approach. But the general consensus, no pun intended, seems to be that we may want to go with like one process per block approach, and then there are some discussions related to if or if not to maintain the process live when it's blocked, or if we would want to just keep it live and waiting. That's where most of the like controversy arises. But yeah, I think that we can get it to a very simplified point when we just have one process per block. We don't even have like a separate download. It's just a separate step, and then that process can have many entry points, and it may start at the download step, or at the decoding step, or at the state transition step, depending on where it starts, which is also great for recovery. But anyway, I digress. We can speak about that in more detail afterwards. So most of my day was spent discussing that and getting feedback, and some of it doing some some small modifications to the workshop slides. So I got a little bit behind on reviews, which I will continue today after the workshop. Also, we have a pending sync with Cots Power and Fernando, so we can do that after. If you still need that, we can.
Sorry, I don't think I've gone through the code and I get it better.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, if that's needed again at any point, just let us know. But congratulations on unblocking yourself. That's always an achievement. All right, and that's it for me. Do we have any final comments or questions? All right, I'll take that as a no. Thank you all for joining. See you all in exactly 1 minute in this same channel. I will just prepare the stream and we can either rejoin. I will just be here, but I will end this stream for the daily now. Thank you all for